Hello everyone, my name is Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. This channel is definitely turning into and morphing into exactly what it's supposed to be, but we do DIYs on this channel, we'll do lifestyle, we'll talk about travel, and today we're going to talk about nursing. I don't think I've ever mentioned on this channel, but I am a registered nurse. I have my master's degree in nursing, and that was a long, hard, difficult road, but I'm here. I currently am back in school to become a women's health nurse practitioner. So we'll be documenting that journey because I start clinicals in 2 weeks and I am quite nervous. But before we get started with any of that and the story itself that I'm here to share with you, please subscribe to the channel if you are a nurse or aspiring nurse or a novice international traveler like myself, or if you just like some of the videos that I've already done, DIYs, things like that, talking to the camera, please subscribe. Comment below with your nursing stories, and as we get into the story, comment below with your experiences with nursing, and like this video because it does help as far as, I guess, the analytics are concerned with Google. But today we're going to talk about nursing, and we're going to talk about how when I got started, I hated nursing. Yes, I said it. I hated nursing. I did not like nursing. I was furious. I was just so upset because I thought that I created, or not created, but thought that I had chosen the wrong career path for myself. I couldn't believe that I did all this work to get to this result, to get to this job, and I'm miserable. So today we're going to talk about how, as a new grad, when I first started, I hated nursing and was looking for any way to get out, and just how that morphed into almost celebrating my 2 years at my job and being a nurse for over 2 years. Definitely going to talk about that, and let's just get started. So if I look over here, it's because my notes are over here, and I had to flesh out all of my emotions and go back to that moment because it was actually pretty devastating for me because, you know, you work so hard to get to something, you pour all this money, you get all these, you know, and all this debt, especially for my particular program, all of this debt to be a nurse, and then, okay, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So I'm in school, finally towards the end, I can see the light. Start studying for the NCLEX like I've never studied before. Turning my phone off, turning all the music off, sitting in silence, reading, all of that jazz. But finally take the NCLEX, and I'll have to tell you about my NCLEX story because that day was nothing but a test. It was a test the entire day. From the moment I woke up to even after the test to getting home, the whole day was a test. But I passed the NCLEX on the first time. Like, praise hands. So excited about passing the NCLEX, and immediately start looking for a job. And I live in California, very blessed to live in California, but I live in California, and so I'm looking all over. For those of you who are familiar with California, I'm looking in Los Angeles County. I went down to Palm Springs. I was looking in Bakersfield, Visalia, Sacramento, the Bay Area, everywhere. Because I particularly wanted to do women's health, namely labor and delivery, and I was looking for new grad programs that would allow me to go straight into that particular specialty without having to do a med-surg, tele type shindig. I did that in, you know, clinicals, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I know that I really want to do women's health, hence my specialty as a nurse practitioner. And so I was like, let's just look for jobs. So I was everywhere. I even went for a job interview that was not women's health, but a job interview in El Centro. Now, again, even people from California may not be familiar or hip to El Centro, but El Centro is about 20 minutes from the border. I don't know why I thought I could live there, but, you know, he was telling me that a lot of people live there, and then on the weekends, they go hang out in Mexico. Okay, resort life. Or they live in San Diego and they drive here because San Diego is fairly close. But that wasn't going to be for me. So I finally get my first job. I didn't have to wait that long. School was over in August, and I started working in October. So I didn't have to wait as long as I know some people have to wait to get jobs, especially as a new grad, because you want a new grad program. You want something that's structured and going to facilitate that transition from student nurse to floor nurse. So I get my job, and the first week is cool because it's all just kind of like administration, taking tests, people coming up and talking to you about hand washing and infection control and all that jazz, and that's cool. And then it started with the patient care the next week. And it was okay, you know, shadowing my preceptor and then taking on one patient and taking on two patients. And I was doing okay. And people, you know, I felt like I was doing all right. And some of the other nurses on the floor were telling me, are you a nurse? Were you a nurse before? I was like, no, I'm a new grad. But, I've had a lot of professional experience. I've had a lot of jobs before that. So I know how to operate in a job. So my demeanor was, okay, this is a job. So let me act like I'm at work, right? So going through the motions, learning how to time manage and multitask and all of that with different patients. And I would go home and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. Sometimes, I know a lot of people, they work their entire school career to get to this point and they've always wanted to be a nurse. And so now they're a nurse and they're just like so excited. I will go home and still feel very unfulfilled. I will cry a lot. I cried many a night. And I actually cried twice on the floor, but my patients were crazy. I was just in the med room like, and my preceptor had to come and rub my back, and he was like, "You gonna be okay?" But definitely was not feeling fulfilled, very unsure of myself, feeling very unprepared, feeling dumb, like, why am I not picking up on things? Why is this taking so long? Mind you, I'm still in my preceptorship. I'm still in my new grad program. So no, again, let me just drop this little nugget. You're not going to have the experience of a 25-year plus or even a 10-year plus or even a 5-year plus nurse because you're not that nurse. You are a little baby fetus nurse, just learning how to transition from student nurse to floor nurse. And that takes time. That takes a lot of time to hone your skill set and to learn how you work best and how you do patient care in your own manner. Not the way that the person that you were assigned to on the floor does and they want you to do it that way. Not the way your preceptor is telling you how you function best delivering patient care. That takes time. And I just wasn't allowing myself the time to grow and to, make mistakes and to learn from that and to be better and to, I just was like, I want to do it perfectly right now. And it was causing me to have anxiety and feeling unprepared. I mean, other than the fact that, nothing prepares you for being a nurse until they're paying you, which is scary, but nothing prepares you for actually being a nurse on the floor until you get a job. So, I just felt like I just couldn't handle it. And I was very, very scared and felt inadequate and nervous, checking my notes to make sure I'm not missing any of the story. And again, I wanted to do labor and delivery. And when I got my first job, the nursing interview had CICU, DOU or SICU or whichever trace and vents, and then telemetry. And so the unit that I got placed on was telemetry. And of course, when I left nursing school, I was like, no, I'm never going, I can't do telemetry ever again. You leave a unit, you're like, I do not want to go back there. But the manager of the unit is a sweetheart and motivates me and encourages me And so I appreciated being underneath her, as far as her watching over and making sure that I was okay, but definitely didn't feel like I was in the unit that I wanted to. And that also contributed to my uneasiness, because I really wanted to do women's health. And I felt like I wasn't where I was being called. I really wanted to do women's health. Mind you, when I interviewed at this hospital, the lady who interviewed me and ultimately offered me the job said, I know that you really want to do women's health. There is an opening. Put your application in for that and interview for that. And it's okay if you don't end up staying with us in telemetry. And I was like, wow, that's really great, right? Because you want what's best for me. Interviewed, and it was one of the worst interviews I've ever had. I just felt like they knew that they didn't want me, and that infuriated me. But then I interviewed again in another 6 months because another position opened up, and it was again like the wackest interview ever. I was so unhappy with that interview process. It infuriated me. I know I've said that like 3 times, but I was pissed off because I don't understand how, if it's a lateral transfer, why are you giving me such a hard time about what kind of program I went to and what classes I took in what semester? Why does that even matter? I want to be a labor and delivery nurse or postpartum nurse. Why are you making this so difficult? But I had my own theories as to why they wouldn't let me transfer, but that's, again, well, in another video. So I felt inadequate and unprepared. I felt like I was in the wrong unit, so I wasn't truly fulfilled in what was going on. And I just felt generally overwhelmed as a new nurse. Okay? So I was having like a new grad crisis. You know, people say you're having a midlife crisis. I was having a new grad crisis. I had to talk to my mom. We had to sit down, at least 3 times. And I had to really talk to her about what it was I was feeling and what my next moves were. Because I was like, okay, you know what? I have to stay in nursing because it's the only job that's going to help me pay back all these loans that I have, that I took out for nursing. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So my mom sat me down and we had several conversations, and she said, you're kind of like me. You're my child. You want to be able to do everything perfect right off the bat, and that's not the case. But you can do this. Just a lot of mommy motivational talks, which was great and wonderful and much needed. But definitely helped calm me down, because the more I worked and the more I got in my own groove, the easier things got and the more comfortable I got in my own skin as a nurse. It felt very weird to be responsible for these patients, very weird to have to talk to the doctors, very weird to have to coordinate care. And that all was like, here you go. I know as a student nurse, we let you give meds, we let you do a couple of treatments or things like that, but you don't really get to do all of that, coordinate care. Your SpectraLink is blowing up because PT wants to come, dietary needs to come, hospice needs to come and speak to them, the doctor's in the room, oh, you need to see the doctor, oh my gosh, let me run down the hallway, all this other jazz. They don't teach you how to juggle all of that for 4 patients or 5 patients, depending on what floor you're on, or 2 patients, wherever you are, especially like ICU. CICU, things like that. Rounds, when all of the, interdisciplinary team comes and you gotta chit chat and know about, see. So it took time for me to get in the groove and get comfortable in my own skin and to know exactly what it was that I needed to do in order to, number one, stay on time with my charting and all of that, but also be able to manage all of these patients and keep all of their stories straight in my head. So it took a little bit, but I think in the latter part of my new grad orientation, which was 12 weeks, I found more of my groove, and it became easier to deal with the stress of the job, of the new career path. And then I also began to see all of the possibilities within the career path that I had chosen. So that made it a little better. And we'll talk, that's a whole nother video that I want to do as far as retraining your mind to think about all of the possibilities and great things that nursing has to offer you, and how you can maximize that for the lifestyle that you want. I have a whole list and a blog post that's going to be coming up on my blog, that I'll try to put right here, right across my chest, where it also says Nurses Rock. Right, I decided to wear my shirt today while I was doing this video, because I feel differently about nursing now, so, you know, Nurses Rock now. But I began to see the possibilities in nursing and really retraining my mind even early on, because, you know, I'm older technically, right? Some people get out of nursing school and they're in their, like, they're 22, 23, and they've never really worked, you know, a job. I mean, you know, other than like maybe like retail or restaurants, but, you know, a office job and all of that, and benefits and all of that jazz. So they're new and they're still living at home, and they don't really have any bills, and so this money and all of this is, you know, fresh new lifestyle to them. I've been around a little bit, I've been working a little bit, so this is definitely technically a second career for me, even though I've always been working towards a career in the medical field. But second career because I've been doing a lot of admin stuff and laboratory stuff before I got into nursing. So it changed my lifestyle, number one, because I moved up some tax brackets, but it changed my lifestyle as far as you only work 3 days a week. Like, that's perfect for me. I didn't know how much I only needed to work 3 days a week until I only had to work 3 days a week. It's perfect. I've been working at my hospital for almost 2 years, and I've definitely found my groove, and I'm always learning new things, but I don't see that as scary anymore, and I take on the challenges that come to me in regards to the job, and definitely moved me around. I was only on telemetry for a little bit before I started training in the perioperative services area. So now I am a cath lab nurse, and that's very scary for a lot of people, but I do the pre and post prep and recovery of the patient. So it's not as, I guess if you want to say, scary as the people that work in the suites, even though I love them and God bless them for all that they do, because they have to take call and all that jazz. You know, I think what made the transition better, and this whole story, or this whole part of my life better, was that I reached out to people when I started to feel uncomfortable and scared. Talked to my preceptor, talked to my mom, talked to other friends who also had jobs at their, you know, at their hospitals, and asked them how they were feeling, and am I the only one, and found out that I wasn't the only one. But of course, those in areas that they liked a little bit more were a little bit happy. Like my friend, who we thought was going to go into OR, ended up going to maternal child health, and she was just overjoyed. So, you know, but her transition was different than my transition. But we all kind of felt that initial, like, oh, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, this doesn't feel right. And so, you know, allow yourself the time and the space to grow, to adjust, to find your groove. I also think that it helped because I had wonderful coworkers, and they were very helpful, and I was on the younger side, and so they were much sweeter and more easygoing and accepting of me. And even though I'd only been there like 2 months, they're like, Amanda, how long have you been here? It feels like you've been here forever. So, you know, I was able to ease into their culture without any real difficulty. People glamorize nursing, and it's a wonderful profession. We are the most trusted profession. I don't know, like, what, 15 years or something like that in a row. But this is hard work. You know, it's very hard work, and it's taxing physically and emotionally. And you don't think about that type of stuff when you're in nursing school, and you don't think about that type of stuff when it's glamorized all over the place, but it is very taxing emotionally, physically. I will go home and I will sit in my scrubs for like an hour because I was like, oh, I'm just so tired. You gotta get up, right? Because you have other things to do, and you have a life to live outside of nursing. Again, alluding to my other video and blog post about how to maximize your life as a nurse, and how to think about it differently and all the possibilities that it has for you. But oh, my little panda nurse that my friend got me. Okay, she not feel okay. But I just wanted to make this video because I know that there are other aspiring nurses and new grads out there that are also struggling, that are also hecka scared and wondering what the hell they got themselves into. And I'm here to tell you that it gets better, it gets easier, but you've got to give yourself the space and the time to grow into the nurse that you will become. We will get there, I will get there, we will get there together, but it's just a matter of allowing yourself to grow and to take the time to become that nurse and to find your groove. And so I hope this video helps somebody not be so scared and to come into nursing with realistic lenses, not rose-colored lenses where you think everything's going to be gravy and it's going to be great and you want to be a nurse your whole life, but realistic lenses to know that you're in it for the long haul and that it's going to be difficult, but you're ready for the fight because you know that you're built for this, right? So I hope this helps. I hope this video helps somebody. Please, again, comment about your new grad experiences, comment about your nursing experience down below, and any tips that you can give to aspiring nurses about how they can adjust from student nurse to floor nurse. Subscribe, thumbs up this video, give any nursing video suggestions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.